Subscribe to Saleswalah Studios and do not forget to click on the bell icon.
I wanted to be that source of hope that is there for a considerable period so that rather than worrying about their next meal, they can start focusing on building a better livelihood for themselves. So this doesn't just stop at just being that source of food for someone who doesn't have anything, but also to give them that that little leeway to explore better things in life apart from just finding a source for food for themselves, which is what they work towards on a regular basis, even under normal circumstances.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Leisurely Baat. My guest today is Mr. Rehan Gupta, who is the founder of 4 Daily Wages. Rehan, welcome to Leisurely Baat. How are you?
Thank you, sir. I'm really good and really excited to have this conversation with you. And I've been stoked ever since you reached out. So yeah, really looking forward to what we have today.
Absolutely. And Rehan, it's so inspiring to see the work you're doing. But let me first start by asking you to share a little bit about yourself and the work you and your team are doing.
Right. So before I begin, I actually wanted to introduce Nevidya as well, who's on the call with us, and he's actually a co-founder with me in the project. So a little bit about me. I graduated as an engineer from Manipal.
Right.
I grew up in Mumbai, but I did my engineering from Manipal. So it was a brilliant experience to step away from home and not just learn engineering, but go through an overall development in terms of personality. Because I went from being this pampered child to actually living on my own, which I think played a huge role in shaping who I am today.
Right.
And since then, throughout college, I've been really interested in entrepreneurship and working on different projects. I was the president of a student-run body there called ISEC, which is where I met most of my co-founders and people that I've been working with. And at the same time, I also founded this youth-run organization back then as well called Youth for Volunteering. Right. So I've been very big on, very big on a regular participant in social projects. Something that I think feeds my soul apart from, the regular engineering stuff that we were always up to. And I'm just glad that, throughout my time in Manipal, I found people who were like-minded and, who have eventually now helped me start 4 Daily Wages as well.
Fantastic. And share with us a bit about 4 Daily Wages. What are you trying to do in this organization?
So, I'll tell you what the thought behind 4 Daily Wages is. So, as soon as the lockdown started, I think, one thing that was very, very apparent to me within, observing people within my circles was that, everyone was busy, doing new courses. They were upskilling themselves. They started new projects. They probably even started a couple of jobs working from home and things like that. Right. They had a lot of time on their hands, which they were able to really utilize really well to, for the betterment of their lives, for a brighter future for themselves. At the same time, in the background, I was watching a lot of news, and there were a lot of people who were struggling in their lives, struggling to make ends meet. And I realized that there was a huge difference in terms of the privilege that, people of these different classes had. Although I also did not have any significant source of income in my life, I still had, a certain level of protection, which gave me, that sense of security to pursue my dreams, to pursue, a brighter future for myself. But there were other people, on the other hand, who were sort of stuck in trying to, just find the basics, trying to put some food on the table, trying to, probably pay electricity, just, sustain themselves with the basics. So that's where the thought came from, that I wanted to give them that temporary source of, let's say security, even if it was for a couple of weeks, which would be a start, of course, so that they could, then focus on maybe other things for that time being, about how they could maybe, make their lives better. Just a start. Not that, something that we wanted to start with. And I feel that In this small start that we've made, we've been fairly successful over the last couple of months. We've been, able to provide about 5,000 kg of ration to about 500 families. And while we've been focusing on connecting as many people as we can to donors, we've seen that donors themselves have adopted certain families, and they've started, apart from the first order that they placed for them, they've now started doing that more regularly. So they have found that sense of security somewhere externally, which will now allow them to, probably focus more on their lives, focus more on greater things apart from something that's, just at the base level, something that makes or leads to a brighter future for themselves.
Right. Now, let me ask you a very important question is, whenever you start and you initiate these kind of projects, the most important part is the team. And just to get Naivedya into the conversation, how did you get along, get to, get this team together?
But I think Naivedya can take that question if he wishes to.
Right. So I knew Rehan since college itself. As Rehan said, we were working together in this organization called ISEC. Rehan was actually my president over there. And that relationship sort of continued. I've been very fortunate to get to know him. And so as soon as the lockdown was implemented after the coronavirus, Rehan reached out to us, stating that there are these bunch of people who you can actually either go online and make a donation for one of them, or we could get together again, just like our old days, and probably do something of a greater impact. If probably you could spend $1,000 rupees to feed one or two families, we could spend the same amount of money to cater for a much larger community by building an online platform. So that's how we got together. This has been a completely remote initiative. None of us have obviously met since the lockdown started, and in the last 2-3 months, as Rehan said, over 500 families, and it's been going really well.
Fantastic. Such an inspiration coming out from the young brigade, and as an alumni of MIT Manipal myself, many moons back, I graduated in 1996. So it's indeed very, very proud to hear such initiatives coming out from graduates of my alumni. So well done again, both of you and the entire team. How do you do your field work? Do you go out? How do you identify these families?
So, again, this would be a question that would be perfect for Naivedya to answer, because that is something that he directly takes care of.
Sure.
Right. So how we operate is we have a team who focuses on getting all these beneficiaries on board. So we primarily have government contacts. We contact the relief centers of, say, a Delhi state government or a Maharashtra state government. We get in touch with the caretakers of these relief centers, and then all we need to do is get the database of the people in these centers, their contact numbers, their addresses, and that's it. Then we allocate each and every address an independent donor, independent beneficiary to a donor across the country, and they just directly make a donation. So the beneficiary acquiring process is great. And once we got on a roll, once we had
sorry, you broke out there.
a couple of started reaching out to us, saying they were families or say their drivers can be helped out.
Right. No, it's wonderful.
Did you lose us?
I lost Naivedya for a moment while he was explaining, but I think I got the gist of it. It was just the last bit, but I think I understood it. It's a direct connection between the donors and the beneficiary, and you kind of make that discovery process, validate that through government sources, and that's how the donors get connected with the beneficiaries.
Right. That's how we get in touch with the donors, and then we have a verification team as well, which Rehan handles. So the team verifies each and every individual beneficiary to make sure that the beneficiary is valid, and only then the contact is allocated to a particular donor.
Fantastic. It's a great initiative, and it's been around 4 months since the lockdown, and we've now started to unlock ourselves as a country, various parts adopting its own measures. have you seen the plight of your beneficiaries change, or are you seeing the same amount of help is required to where you are offering your services?
So I mean, but so there is this misconception now. Actually, I think that is growing amongst people that things are going back to normal, but that's not the case at all.
Right.
Primarily for two reasons. One, even if things have started opening up, they have not gone back to normal by any means. And the second is that during the lockdown itself, these guys were so severely stressed. They probably had to borrow money. They had to, do whatever they could within their capacities to make ends meet, that they are now going to have to, let's say, repay those things, or, are going to remain under severe stress for a considerable period of time before they can probably go back to their regular livelihood. And in itself, the regular livelihood was not something that was really fancy or what we consider to be comfortable.
Right.
They were anyway under severe stress. It's not like the daily wages in our country are really well paid, or they have a great minimum wage or anything of that sort. So in general, their lives are severely stressed. They make ends meet. It's like they work from meal to meal. It's almost like that in a regular circumstance. So now it's going to be, let's say, really bad for them, at least for a couple of years, I would say. Right. So the need never ends, to be very honest. And like I was explaining earlier, I don't want us to just be something that is, serving food to someone who is close to having nothing. I want it to be that source of hope that is there for a considerable period, so that rather than worrying about their next meal, they can start focusing on building a better livelihood for themselves. So this doesn't just stop at just being that source of food for someone who doesn't have anything, but also to give them that that little leeway to explore better things in life apart from just finding a source for food for themselves, which is what they work towards on a regular basis, even under normal circumstances. So this is how I feel that the movement sustains and continues beyond the lockdown as well, because these guys require this help throughout their lives, even under normal circumstances.
Fantastic, very well explained, Rehan. Rehan, a question to you is: you chose a career in non-profit or social entrepreneurship right, after you graduated, from engineering. What was your motivation to choose an unconventional path? Because I remember back in our days, and even I'm sure now, everybody would go after a very lucrative career either in India or overseas, or a post-graduation overseas. So I'm very keen to hear your mindset there.
So it's not like that. I mean, we're not ambitious like all of us who are working for daily wages. It's we are ambitious individuals as well, and like I said, we are working on another startup, which is of course a for-profit initiative. But throughout our time in college, I think we've not been people who are motivated by money. We do things out of passion for things that we like, and a huge part of everything that we do, and a large part of everything that we learned in college, was also about being empathetic towards everyone around us. We've always realized that, especially being from Manipal, that we came from a position of privilege. And whenever we were traveling around the country, or growing up in Mumbai as well, you do see yourself brushing shoulders with people from different strata of society. And throughout my life, I think, and I think I speak for both Nevidya and I, we've been very, very aware of the fact that we've been privileged. So while we grow as professionals and while we grow as individuals, we feel that we have a capacity to give back in that process. Because like I said, we're not the kinds who want to amass wealth. I would just like to sustain, let's say, the lifestyle that I have currently, and I think I have more than abundance. Enough and more, I think, in my life to be able to sustain that. So now everything that I want to do, I would like to contribute back to the people of this country, and people of people who I live in society with, so that they can also be as ambitious as I am in my life, and they can look forward to bigger things, just like I do. And we're more than happy to help. I feel that it's something that everyone should do to a certain degree. In fact, these days we're already seeing how people are are speaking about how billionaires should give back more. I can say that both Nevidya and I would love to be billionaires, but then we would like to start giving back right from when we're building rather than when we reach at the top.
Right.
I think it's something that grounds us, keeps us humble, and it's again, it's an added motivation in life. Like when you're not just caring about yourself, but you know that you have another 1,000, 2,000 people to take care of. It serves as an added motivation in life to do better.
Fantastic, phenomenal. It's so inspiring to get that kind of a thought thinking that's going on in both your minds. Was there ever a moment? I mean, this question is for both of you, and maybe Rehan, you can go first, and then Navidya can take up the same question. But what I wanted to understand is the life of entrepreneur, and I'm one. This is my third innings. What I'm doing, as an entrepreneur. And it's a very uncertain life. There are excitements, there are highs and lows. But in all this, how was there ever a moment of where you felt like giving up, a moment of self-doubt, and how do you deal with it?
We've just started, so it's not that we've been for a very long time, and we've seen a lot of ups and downs and had low moments. At this moment, fortunately for us at least, it's been a good start, a very encouraging start, which has kept us very, very enthusiastic, and we've only been looking upwards at this moment. So, I mean, for me at least, we've not had that moment at this moment where we felt like, okay, we want to give up or we want to probably pursue something else. We've had thoughts of probably freelancing here and there to get some additional income. But not at any stage. I don't think we've ever felt like giving up. I mean, I don't know about Nevidya, but not for me at least. I mean, both the things that we've been working on have been fairly successful so far. So we are in fact very excited at this moment. So
fantastic.
Not a story of giving up or failure at this moment, and I hope we don't face that. Not that we shy away from failure or are scared to fail, but I mean, considering we've had a good start, I just hope that we sustain and keep growing.
100%. Navidya, your thoughts?
Right. As Rehan said, it's been a fairly new start for us, a new journey to begin with, and this entrepreneurship or whatever you might call it, it's been only half a year, so not a lot of platform to fail, but we've been very excited so far, and we've been learning a lot, learning as we go. So what that helps us is obviously not only realizing that other people have made a lot of mistakes and recovered from that, but also that anything that we try has probably already been tried before, and people have already failed at that and then come back harder. So for us right now, 6 months in, it's all about the hustle, and we're going hard. Yeah.
100%, and well done, and keep shining. And I really, really, like your spirit, and I really pray and hope that you keep up this positive spirit and be successful in whatever endeavors you aspire to take up in your journey towards being a billionaire. And at that point, when you reach that summit, that pinnacle of success, I look forward to your philanthropic ventures and being part of it. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the show. It was such a pleasure, and personally, it was so inspiring to see and talk to you and hear about what you have been able to achieve, and most importantly, the empathy that you are driving and showing and helping out the people of our country who need it the most. For Daily Wages team, thank you so much, and once again, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Subhadip. I mean, it's a pleasure for us to actually interact with someone so senior to us from college. And I look forward to any future interactions that we could have as well.